It's a huge weekend of racing at First Racing, coast to coast. We're at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Of course, it's Fountain of Youth Day, plenty of other stakes races. And on Sunday, mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. The pool should be enormous. And then out west, Santa Anita, it's Big Cap Day, where we'll also see the Derby Trail continue out there with the return of barns and journalism. It's Horse Sense. Let's get to it.
Welcome back to another week of Horse Sense. As always, I'm Bailey Armour, joined alongside the indomitable Scott Shapiro as we head into another indomitable week of racing here at First. It's the Fountain of Youth at Gulfstream this Saturday and the Big Cap, the Santa Anita Handicap at Santa Anita, also on Saturday, followed by a payout of the mandatory Rainbow Six at Gulfstream on Sunday. So I don't know about you, Scott, but I am really, really looking forward to a lot of the races this weekend.
Yeah, big weekend for us, of course. Big Saturday, and then Sunday, Gulfstream Park adding to the extravaganza, if you will, with that mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. But yeah, we won't talk about that. I will have a blog up on Sunday and a video as well discussing that. But we've got some big stakes races on the agenda to talk about, and some really strong horizontal pools and other things to go along with it, of course.
Yeah, we've got some big promotions to go along with these big races this week. So, of course, this weekend continues our $10 money back special in the Triple Crown Trail prep races. So that's going to be races from Gulfstream and Santa Anita as we move through the racing calendar heading towards that Saturday in May. Additionally, this week we've got a new one for you. We're bringing back the Exactathon that we ran several times last year. And personally, I loved playing in it because I'm a big Exacta player. So this Saturday, we've got a $5,000 Exactathon, and that's going to combine races from Gulfstream and from Santa Anita. If you hit 4 Exactas at Gulfstream and 4 at Santa Anita, any 4 of your choosing, you're going to win your equal share of a $4,000 prize pool. Plus, on top of that, the player or players who hit the most Exactas combined across both cards will win their share of an extra $1,000. So I'm shooting for the fences with this one. I'm really excited about this promotion, and I hope you are too.
Shooting for the fences, isn't it? Swinging for the senses, shooting for the moon. I don't know.
I'm much better with a long range rifle than I am with a baseball bat. Trust me.
All right, all right. Well, yes, I'm very much excited for those promotions. In fact, so excited. I'll have an Exactathon article up on the blog, and then the next day I'll have an article on the 3 money back specials, $10 money back specials on those 3 Triple Crown races. There's a lot more going on than just that, though, Bailey. We've got the Ultimate Betting Challenge, one of the biggest tournaments we host all year, $6,000 buy-in, and it's awesome. It's all the Santa Anita and Gulfstream Park races on both of these really big cards. And then we've got, like you mentioned, the Rainbow Six on Sunday. That'll be it'll be no Tapeta. Just kidding.
There you go.
Tapeta. I'm fine with the Tapeta, but I understand, down at Gulfstream, it can get a little tricky with the form of the turf, the Tapeta and stuff. So I'm happy to see that. And it'll be Tapeta free on Saturday for those of you that are into that. And then you can watch the racing from 5. You can watch it all day long on FanDuel TV and obviously on the other outlets that you normally do. But there'll be First Racing Tour will continue from 5 to 7 on p.m. Eastern on CNBC as well as Peacock. So tons going on, Bailey. Really looking forward to it. A big part of the big day at First Racing, First Bet, and Xpressbet is the Fountain of Youth, the feature race at Gulfstream for the stakes lead-in card there. It continues the road to the Kentucky Derby in South Florida, where last time it was Burnham Square who got the job done in the Holy Bull. He'll move forward and take on new rivals here for trainer Ian Wilkes, and one of them is River Thames, another one Sovereignty. River Thames 2-1 on the morning line. Burnham Square 5-2, Sovereignty 3-1. Oddsmaker Brian Nato made this a 3-horse race based on the morning lines. How did you see it, Bailey?
I, of course, did not see the morning lines before we filmed, so thank you for that information. And I wish that I had better price horses to give out in these races that we're going to touch on today, but honestly, I just don't. I was really, really keen on Burnham Square last time, who was much shorter priced down at Gulfstream than he has been in his starts before after Ian Wilkes added those blinkers, like you mentioned. And for me, it's Burnham Square again. I'm still pretty keen on him here. I think he's maturing really, really nicely. I wish we were getting a little bit better of a price, but we'll see what happens on Saturday. Now, the number 6 River Thames. This is an interesting one for me. I don't know if I'm as confident in him as I am in Burnham Square, because I think this is a pretty big class jump for him coming off of those 2 starts, undefeated 2 starts. So I'll give him that. I'm, not knocking him or anything. But the fact that Todd Pletcher or John Velasquez is coming back to ride, and this is a WinStar and China Horse Club horse, who of course were the same connections as Justify, they're looking for their big Derby horse again. And if they're confident enough to put him in his spot, that doesn't totally turn me off of him. So I'm going to use him in my exactas, like we said, for the exactathon promotion that we mentioned in the beginning. I just don't think that I like him any more than Burnham Square.
Are you going to play any doubles or pick threes? I know we've discussed horizontals a little, and this is a race where I think there's a specific way you want to attack it if you opt to do so.
So I've been thinking about it. You've definitely helped me get a lot more confident in my multi-race sequences. So I'm looking at some doubles with this race and then the race afterwards, the Mac Diarmida, I believe is how you say it. And I'm very sorry if that's not correct.
I get
Yeah,
it wrong too, but
this
yeah.
big long turf race, different for me from a turf sprint.
Great
They're
too.
going, I know it's a big race. They're going 1 mile and 3/8. So I really like the looks of horses Grand Sonata, Cash Equity, and then maybe Dashman, depending on how the ticket shakes out. What kind of tips do you have for me when it comes to building tickets like this?
Yeah, if you're gonna use, if you're gonna play, if you have a strong opinion in the Fountain of Youth, for instance, you need to base your ticket on that, whether you play one ticket or all of them. And you seem to have that with Burnham Square. You don't want to double up and triple up your ticket by including one of the other favorites. You would only want to do that in a situation where in the next race you're using or singling long shots. Then, I don't have a strong opinion in the Fountain of Youth. It's okay to say I think the 3 favorites or 2 of the 3 favorites are the ones to use here, because I'm going to get my value in the next race and get a little bit of a separation from the public. But what the horses you're using are more figure horses, and the ones, in fact, that I like as well, especially Grand Sonata. Cash Equity has been a little bit camera shy, and I prefer Segoya a little bit over that one in the grade 2 finale. But to me, the way you're structured, like what you did, you handicapped the race first before you even thought, and you came to me with a question, not really thinking about the bet before you're doing the work. You kind of want to formulate your opinions after that. And now that you're telling me you like a 5-2 shot, Burnham Square, who could be the favorite, could be the second choice, with a couple logicals, you just want to hit that hard and try to hit the double 3, which is Burnham Square. And I would recommend, maybe even tiering the doubles later. You mentioned Grand Sonata and you mentioned Cash Equity, and then you kind of mentioned Dashman. What you can do if you really want to, play it to that opinion that you're telling me, you would play it a little bit like double the amount, the double 3 to Grand Sonata and to Cash Equity, and then half the amount to Dashman. Does that make sense to you? Why you would leverage the opinion like that?
Yeah, I think so, especially when it comes to odds prices like that. Now, if I'm taking a favorite in the first leg of, just for doubles, for example, right now, if I'm taking the favorite in the first leg in a double, is there an odds ballpark you would kind of look for when it comes to finding a long shot in that second race? Or is it just whatever, maybe a horse you liked anywhere from 4 to 9 to 1 or whatever?
I think you want to do the same thing when you're shopping the odds as I mentioned doing beforehand. Handicap the race first. Then if you have equal opinions, then you want to separate based on odds. If you were betting to win, of course, you want to immediately come down to who you're going to bet to win. In this case,
Right.
you're going to use 2 horses or 3. Try to find a way to separate them. Ideally, separate them totally. But if you have one that you like more than others, some people may have heard that, as A's and B's and C's, with the A's being kind of your strongest take, strongest opinion, B's kind of like you made it with Dashman, sort of Dashman, maybe, right? You don't want to get beat by the horse, but you don't really need to have it for the same amount because it's not as strong of an opinion.
Every time you say separate, I just think of getting an egg yolk out of an egg white. So that's the only way I'm going to think about pulling these horses out of doubles now.
Well, a lot going on at Santa Anita as well this weekend. We'll see the return of Barnes as well as journalism and Rodriguez, of course, in the San Felipe with the Derby Trail continuing. But the headliner is the Grade 1 Big Cap. And we got an interesting field, Bailey. We have a lot of the horses we're used to here, but we got a couple of horses shipping in east, starting with the morning line favorite number 7, Locked, as well as number 3, Hit Show, both of them for Big Barnes. Of course, Todd Pletcher for Locked, Brad Cox for Hit Show. Both of them has raced once in 2025. This will be their second start of the year. And I know you're going to try to get me to talk you off a horse in this race. I'll assume it's one of those two.
Good assumption. And yes, our topic of today's Talk Me Off This Horse is going to be a Hit Show. But frankly, Scott, I don't think you're going to be able to talk me off of him. And I hope you can't, and I hope he wins. This is a horse that I have been keen on, if you ask my boss, Dustin Fabian, for years. My best friend, Christina, was his hot walker when she did a stint in the Brad Cox barn when he was like a 2-year-old coming into that Derby year. And she loved him. If she loves a horse, she is a very astute horseman, and she has very, very good handicapping opinions. Yes, horsewoman, horseman, whatever you want to say. She really knows her shit. And so if she likes a horse this much, I'm gonna like a horse this much. He has let me down, but I still have faith in him, and I very much have faith in him today. The number 3, Hit Show. Now taking a look at the possible campaign for a horse like Hit Show this year, this definitely makes logical sense for him to run in this race. This is a horse that's never won a Grade 1. He's looking for that first Grade 1 victory, and then, maybe looking to retire to the breeding show, whatever. He's a son of Candy Ride, who has several other very talented sons at stud right now. Presently, of course, Gunrunner being one of the most dominant stallions in the market, and then Vekoma at Spendthrift. So he needs to add this notch to his resume. This is like Hit Show's white whale that the Wests have been chasing, is that final Grade 1. And I think everything on Saturday is shaping up for that. So for me, all day Hit Show.
Well, he is my top pick, but this segment is made for me to be able to show that even my top pick is very easy to be talked off. I mean, he's going to be 2 or 3 to 1, something in that ball range. He's not a lock just because I like him. Locked, no pun intended. Let's see. Hit Show. As a 2-year-old, I thought he was awesome. He won that debut at Keeneland. Speaking to your friend's point, I thought he had a bright future. He's had it's hard to knock a horse that's had a career of 8 for 16, $1.4 million. But you said it. He hasn't earned a Grade 1 yet. And I think most of the way, ever since the Belmont and even before, I think Brad kind of managed him. He ran pretty good in the Derby, by the way, and he was a good 3-year-old. But I think Brad Cox kind of took him back and realized he might be, the second tier of older handicap horses, not able to kind of compete with the Breeders' Cup Classic level types. He rattled off 3 races against that kind of tier, and then they tried the Clark and ran a decent third and came back last time. Here's my thing with Hit Show. I think, like you, he's going to get a really good setup in here. There's a lot of speed signed on. But what if pace isn't as hot? We've seen that often, and many times where I thought the pace was going to collapse and 2 of the speeds don't break well, or a jockey tries new tactics. So there's always that when you have a horse that's almost certain to be last or second to last in this race. Pratt, very nice addition, no doubt about it. But when you're coming from last at Santa Anita, that is not always the easiest trip. Then you add to the fact that we're talking 1.25 miles. Now, again, like you, I think the 1.25 miles, and I think this spot on the calendar makes a lot of sense. But he's never won at 1.25 miles. His success has been at 1.125 miles. So you combine the fact that he's shipping out west. He's never raced over this surface. He's not going to be a big price, even though he's probably going to be the second choice to Locked. And he has to come from way out of it at a distance he's never won at. There's some questions to be answered, and he's not going to be a very good price. So as much as I'll be rooting with you for Hit Show, with Hit Show in the big cap, I don't think he's anything close to a lock. And in fact, Locked could be the likelier winner.
Hey, play him in the exactathon, and then maybe you can add some extra money to your bankroll. That's for sure. As always, thank you so much for watching another week of Horse Sense. Of course, I'm Bailey Armour and was joined alongside today, as always, by Scott Shapiro. Make sure that you're playing and opting into those promotions on Xpressbet this weekend. We've got a $10 money back special on 3 Triple Crown Trail prep races at Gulfstream, Santa Anita, and Aqueduct. And then, of course, that $5,000 exactathon covering races from Gulfstream and Santa Anita. Don't forget to load up your first bet account, and good luck.